In Geometry 8.2, we're dealing with something that's going to be one of your favorite equations, because this is something that you already know, and that it's going to make the video a lot easier, or shorter, what I mean, we all like the short videos. We're dealing with a Pythagorean theorem, alright? And again, we've used this sometimes in class, but now you're going to be masters of it and experts by the time we're done with class. Basically, there's two theorems. The first one is stating the Pythagorean theorem itself. And in a right triangle, and this, again, in Pythagorean theorem, we're only dealing with right triangles. But the right triangle, there's an equation that says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The main important thing that you need to know is c squared is always the longest side. Okay? No matter what, c, not c squared, but c is always the longest side. So in this case, it's always the one opposite the right triangle, the hypotenuse, okay, is always the longest side. Other than that, a squared and b are interchangeable. It could be b squared plus a squared because it's plus, so it doesn't really matter. But as long as this is the longest side. And then there's the converse that states that, what if you don't know if it is a right triangle? Well, if you're not sure if it's a right triangle and you plug all the sides in, and you do a squared plus b squared, and then you do c squared, and they're equal on both sides, then it is in fact a right triangle. So it works both ways. So if this works, then that means it is a right triangle. If they tell you that this is a right triangle, this in fact works. But the equation is very simple, and one more time, c, the one on this side, is always the longest side. So let's try it. This is, they want us to find d, and basically, no matter what, this hypotenuse has to be what? C. Now this, either ways could be a or b. So let's name this a and name this b. Once we label it, we just plug it into the equation. A squared, so we're going to have d squared, plus b squared. Okay, b is 3, so 3 squared equals c squared, which is 6 squared. So we bring d squared down, plus 3 times 3 is 9, equals 6 times 6 is 36. We're going to subtract 9 from both sides. D squared, okay, equals 25. Okay? I did it wrong. For some reason Miss P's brain is not working, but I corrected it. D squared is 27. Now I'm not done because I end up with a d squared. So what I do here is I'm going to square root both sides. Okay? So we're going to do 27 squared, and we end up with d equals 5.2. But because this is giving us actual measurements, it's going to be centimeters. Some of you guys missed that on your test. Okay? D equals 5.2 centimeters. Sorry, that doesn't really look like a D. So let's try this next one, and basically this is not giving us a picture, it's telling us, is it a right triangle first of all, and if it's a right triangle, is it a Pythagorean triple? Now the only thing you need to know about this fancy word here that you saw in your vocabulary, Pythagorean triple just states that all of the numbers are whole numbers. So if they're whole numbers and they fit this equation, then it's a Pythagorean triple. Sometimes it's going to fit this equation, but some of them are going to be square roots, some are going to be decimals. If it's not a whole number, then it can't be a Pythagorean triple. Okay, so let's start with, let's see if it's a right triangle. But this one, we don't know which one's the hypotenuse. So how do I know what's C? Well, I know no matter what, C is the longest side. So this has to be C, which means this can be A, and this could be B, or this could be A, this could be B, doesn't matter. We know that, so now we have 12 squared plus 9 squared equals 15 squared. We have 144 plus 81, and we have 15 squared. I wish I had my small calculator, but I have my iPad, but it's okay. 225. Alright, what do I do next? Well, now I can just add this. 144 plus 81 is 225. Now, when they give me all the measurements and I'm not missing any, I just have to check if this side equals this side. Since this side, 225, equals 225, yes, I can say yes, it is a right triangle, and because they're all whole numbers, then I can say yes, it is a Pythagorean triple. And this is showing my work. Alright? So go ahead and try that. Do page 444, number 2 and 8. 444, number 2 and 8. Don't forget your vocabulary, and that's it.